I used to believe time was neutral, that if you waited long enough, things either worked themselves out or stopped hurting. I was wrong about both. The last message from her sat unread for 3 days. Not because I didn't see it, because I didn't know who I'd have to be if I opened it. Her name was Claire. We weren't dramatic, no shouting, no doors slammed, which somehow made everything heavier. We met when my life was stable enough to feel finished. Same apartment for 5 years, same job I was good at but didn't love, same routine that made days disappear quietly. She stepped into that rhythm without trying to disrupt it. At first, Claire asked questions most people avoid. Not invasive, just precise. What are you building? Who do you call when something goes wrong? Is this where you see yourself staying? I laughed those off early on. I thought curiosity was harmless. We spent evenings on my couch, shoes off, talking without phones between us. She listened differently, like she was trying to understand patterns, not just stories. That should have warned me. She never asked me to change. That's the part people don't believe. She just noticed when I avoided things. I avoided talking about the future. I avoided introducing her to certain people. I avoided the word us when it implied movement. Whenever things got close to becoming real, I'd slow everything down. I told myself I was being careful. One night, she stayed quiet longer than usual. I noticed it, but I didn't ask. Men like me don't ask unless we're ready for the answer. You know, she said eventually, staring at nothing in particular, I think you're waiting for certainty before you move. I shrugged. That's not unreasonable, I said. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. No, she said, but it might be unrealistic. That was the first crack, small, easy to ignore. So I did. Weeks passed, then months. Nothing was wrong, and yet something was missing. She started sleeping closer to the edge of the bed. Not dramatically, just enough to feel intentional. I'd catch her watching me when she thought I wasn't paying attention. Not with anger, with calculation, like she was measuring how long she could stand still. One afternoon, we were walking through the neighborhood, same streets I'd walked for years. She stopped suddenly. Do you ever think about leaving? She asked. Leaving what? I said. She didn't answer right away. Exactly, she said. That night, I told myself she was restless. People go through phases. Feelings pass. Time fixes things. The message on my phone buzzed again. I still didn't open it because part of me already knew what it would say, and part of me wasn't ready to lose the version of myself that didn't have to decide anything yet. She came over 2 days later. No warning, no argument, just a calm that scared me more than anger ever could. I don't think you're dishonest, she said, sitting across from me. I think you're just very committed to staying the same. I didn't respond. Silence can feel safer than truth. I need to know something, she continued, and I need you to answer without thinking. That's when I felt it. That tightening in the chest men mistake for pressure when it's actually clarity knocking. Are you choosing me? She asked. Or are you just not choosing against me yet? I opened my mouth and said nothing. She nodded slowly, like someone who just received confirmation, not rejection. I thought time would help, she said quietly, but I don't think time changes people who are comfortable. She stood up, picked up her coat. I need more than patience, she said. I need direction. At the door, she turned back. This isn't an ultimatum, she said. It's just information. The door closed, softly, no echo. That night, I stared at my phone for hours, at the unread message, at the life I hadn't questioned hard enough. I finally opened it, and realized I'd waited just long enough to make the next part felt larger after she left. Not emptier, louder. Every sound stayed longer than it should have. Her message was short, not cold, not emotional, just precise. Open quote, I didn't leave because you didn't love me. I left because loving me didn't change anything. Close quote. I read it 3 times, each time slower. I told myself this was temporary, that people separate and find their way back once emotions cool. That distance brings clarity. Sometimes it does. Other times it just confirms what was already true. Days passed without urgency. I kept my routine intact. Work, gym, sleep. Stability has a way of disguising avoidance as maturity. Friends asked where she was. I gave neutral answers. She needed space. We're figuring things out. Language that protects you from admitting loss. One evening, I ran into her by accident. Same coffee shop, different timing. She looked steady, not relieved, not broken, just aligned. That was harder to face than sadness. We stood there, unsure how much history to acknowledge in public. "Hi," she said. "Hi," I replied. She told me she'd moved in with a friend. Temporary, but intentional. I nodded like that information didn't rearrange something inside me. "I wasn't trying to scare you," she said after a pause. "I just needed to stop waiting." I wanted to say something convincing, something reassuring, something decisive. I said none of it. Because here's the truth I didn't want to face. Even now, with her standing in front of me, I wasn't sure I'd do anything differently, and that realization landed heavier than regret. After that, we didn't keep in touch. No dramatic cutoff, just two people respecting the shape of the ending. Weeks later, I noticed something unsettling. I missed her, but not in moments that required action. I missed her in stillness, late nights, quiet mornings, not in choices. That's when it hit me. I hadn't lost her because I didn't care. I lost her because I never let care interrupt comfort. I started paying attention to myself differently, not with judgment, with honesty. I noticed how often I delayed decisions, how often I waited for certainty that never arrived, how often I confused patience with passivity. Claire didn't leave me with heartbreak. She left me with a mirror. Months later, I saw her name on my phone again. This time, I didn't hesitate. She was calling to say she was moving. Not away. Forward. A new job. A different city. A life with momentum. "I wanted you to hear it from me," she said. "I appreciate that," I replied, and I meant it. There was a pause, the kind that invites honesty one last time. "I think you'll choose differently someday," she said. "Just maybe not with me." After we hung up, I didn't feel crushed. I felt clear. Some lessons arrive late, not to punish you, but to prepare you for someone else or a better version of yourself. I don't tell this story because I regret her. I tell it because I finally understand myself. Silence is a decision, comfort is a choice, and time doesn't fix what we refuse to face. I don't know who I'll meet next, but I know this: if someone asks me to choose, I won't mistake waiting for wisdom again.